How you guys doing, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? Welcome to the Brandon Cruz Daily Fantasy Podcast. We're going to look at 11 plays and strategies specifically designed for GPPs. This is a show for people who are already informed on daily fantasy sports on this contest operate. If you have any questions related to NASCAR that isn't a stupid question, feel free to send it my way. BrandonCruzDFS on Twitter. Most importantly, take everything here with a grain of salt and use your best judgment when making entries. Additionally, if you have a gambling addiction, that's not my problem. Check your sense of feelings at the door. We're talking about the Xfinity Series race at Kansas in this one here yet again. This is powered by Race for the Prize. That's the sheet that I use to make all my lineups, to check where everybody is in race rating, how they are with lap times, how they've done at these tracks. Everything I use is based off of that sheet. If you would like to view that sheet, you can get it from Pierce for $20 for the month of October. I assume at this point, since we're halfway through the month, if you're like, hey man, can I see the site? Can I see the sheet for maybe like $10, $15? You know, I can't do the full 20 because, you know, the month's gone. I'm sure he'll work with you and get you that sheet and everything, but go to racefortheprize.com to get that, and man, I'd keep whacking that. And my Patreon is in the description here. If you guys would like to donate, support me, I would appreciate it. If not, you know, I understand. Let's try and get me to 1,000 subscribers by 2027 if we can, and let's get right into it here. Looking at this race in terms of lineups, I imagine people are going to be punting, and I am not a fan of punting in this grid of how the pricing is, of how the drivers are. I don't like the idea of just punting at the bottom, you know, 4K guys. I don't like that at all. If you're going to punt, do your best to try and punt with somebody in the 5,000s, and I'm going to explain why I'm saying that, and specifically talking about Jeffrey Earnhardt here. And then all the good guys are starting inside the top 10 that you would want to build lineups around. So I imagine the DFS contests are going to be won this weekend by who the punts and who the pivots are. That's how it's going to win. You know, that the lineups are going to be directly determined by what punts bust, what punts do well, what value plays do well. That's how it's going to be determined, dude. And there's going to be a lot of chalky lineups. If the punts go through, there's going to be a lot of time. So Let's root for punts to wreck. But let's go right into this. We got Josh Raymond in this race as well. And you can see I'm not a big fan of the guys in the back here. I got a lot of reds, got a lot of C's, got a lot of high DNF factors and things of that nature. But Josh Raymond, I'm not a huge fan of him. The only thing I like about him is that he's bringing his own sponsor to the Mike Harmon machines. And that is either good because, you know, he's putting money into it. Mike Harmon's going to get him a car that doesn't fail or that doesn't have any mechanical failures. But it's a Mike Harmon car that could fail and have a whole lot of mechanical failures. And I am terrified of that. I do not want to play a Mike Harmon car that could potentially fail, that could potentially have a lot of issues. And I just don't want to. I mean, it's tough. If this was a regular guy, if this is regular Mike Harmon car without a sponsorship, I would be very hesitant to play it. But it's Josh Raymond with a sponsor in a Mike Harmon car, starting dead last. You know, it's not that bad of a play. Hopefully he can pass at least 10 cars here. We'll see how it goes. Jesse Wuji, I think he's going to be chalk. His price allows him to be chalk in a sense of let's play guys from the back. If people don't like Raymond, Light, Bean, Curry, they're going to go to Jesse Wuji. Now, he's in the 99 this weekend for BJ McLeod Motorsports. This car needs ownership or ownership points, and this is do or die time for Jesse. I know he was in the 13 for NBA Motorsports, but this is by far the best car he's ever been in. And, I mean, Jesse needs to do well here because he's got, I mean, not haters. Maybe I'm the only one that's not a big fan of him. I think he's completely overrated just because he's in the military and people. Look, I'm not trying to make this sound bad. I know I have family in law enforcement. I'm a huge advocate for law enforcement, military, and things of that nature. But I think Jesse Wuji gets worshipped like a god just because he's a lieutenant commander who also races in NASCAR. And I think that is just a bit unwarranted. I don't think he deserves that amount of, you know, respect as a race car driver because he's not a good race car driver. Anyway, I think he wrecks this weekend. That's just how it goes. Dexter Bean, not interested in. Stephen Light, NBA Motorsports, has not posted anything, and this is on a Thursday night. Man, it's getting dark in here. They haven't posted anything on a Thursday regarding sponsorships for these guys. I assume they start in park here. I don't know. We just have to see if he's sponsored. We'll check in on that later. Bailey Curry, not interested in. I'd much rather play Josh Raymond. Timmy Hill starting 31st in the 13. They need ownership points. I imagine he's going to be in the Crash Claims car. The Toyota, that's the 13 that Jesse Wuji has driven before. I imagine he'll run very well, at least, break inside the top 20 at some point. Jesse Little starting 30th, running the 15 for JD Motorsports. They need ownership points. That's why Jesse's in this car. They believe that Jesse is the best driver that they have. I imagine he's going to do very well. I think he's a great play. I think he's going to be chalky, but I think he deserves it. It's Austin Hill in the 61 car for the Hatari NBA Motorsports joint venture. He's had a lot of crashes, a lot of DNFs lately. And anytime he does well in the truck race, usually his ownership rises in the Xfinity Series race. And I believe it's the Truck Series and Xfinity Series race first. Don't quote me on that on Saturday, but if he does well in either or whatever race is the first one, usually his ownership jumps in the second one. That's just a situation we'd kind of have to worry about here. Vinnie Miller, I don't really see a reason to play him. If you're playing guys from the back, it's Jesse Wuji, it's Josh Raymond, it's Timmy Hill. Vinnie Miller just gets lost. I don't think this car really has that much upside. He's starting too high up for me. I'm not interested in it. Brett Moffatt is back to a sponsored car in the Our Motorsports machine, the Communist Union, as you can call it. That's what I call it, the Communist car, because their name is hilarious. He should run in the top 12 the entire race, or the tail end of the lead lap. Now, he's burned a lot of people lately in the Xfinity Series, so I don't know if people are going to tilt and not play him. I love Brett Moffatt here. Don't mind that at all. Cody Vanderwall, not interested in. Anthony Alfredo, starting 25th. I don't got to talk about him. Matt Mills, starting 21st. He's a punt play, I assume, but that's about the only way we could use him. Not interested here. Josh Williams is fine. Tommy Joe Martins, I got nothing else to say here. Tommy Joe Martins is... if he runs well, he's going to finish around where he's starting. If he runs worse, your lineup is dead. David Starr, not too interested in him. I'd rather punt with people like David Starr. This is the price range I would want my cheapest guy to be in, but it depends on how you're making lineups and yada, 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 things of that nature. BJ McLeod, Joe Graff Jr., not interested in here. Harrison Burton, starting 18th. I imagine he's going to be in every single lineup. He should be starting 18th. A lot of upside here. Going to be very chalky. Don't have anything to say here. Ryan Vargas, you already know my opinion on him. I don't think he'll do very well this weekend, finishing outside the top 20. That's my projection. I like Brandon Brown. Matt Snyder, take it or leave it. I think he's starting around where his ceiling is. He's been having a lot of issues lately in this car, and I don't think it's necessarily him. It's just they've had bad equipment here and there. They've done poor here and there, so that's just how it is. Jeffrey Earnhardt. Yet again, this is punt, chalk, If people are punting, it's going to go to Jeffrey Earnhardt. It's going to go to people like Matt Mills, and I'll talk to you here. Now, he is in the Forever Lawn car, which I've mentioned that I'm interested in playing him when he's running the sponsor. I think he's going to run better with the sponsor, but he's starting 14th. Does he hit value? Does he hit anywhere close to value here? If the answer is yes, if you believe it's yes, then you got to play him. If it's no, well, then he busts, the chalk busts, the lineups bust, everything's gone. You don't even need to worry about him at that point. But yeah, if he does well, a lot of people are going to own him. If he does bad, he kills a lot of lineups. So I don't really want to be in this situation. The reason I have him as punt 2 is I have ranked the punts that I would look at. So say if I was going to punt this weekend, Matt Mills would be my preferred punt. And then it would go to Jeffrey Earnhardt as punt number 2. And then punt number 3 would be Stephen Light, because that would be in a situation where he's not starting parking. He might actually run. And then punt 4 would be Cody Vanderwall. These punts are disgusting this weekend. The only 2 that are actually useful would probably be Mills. It would probably be Earnhardt. I just don't want to go that direction. I don't want to be down that chalk city. That's just my situation here. Jeremy Clement's not interested in him. Riley Herbst starting 12th. Just depends on how you can do and with ownership. Michael Annett, I think Annett gets lost in ownership. He's in the 8,000s, and looking at how certain lineups are going to pop out, that might be a price range that is kind of avoided or not really used a whole lot. It is getting dark in here. I got to finish this before I lose light. It's not really useful. It's hard to get to. Like, if you're going to play Michael Annett, you need to put him in a lineup saying, hey, I'm going to play this guy and then build around him in a sense. Alex LeBay, not interested in. And then, Haley, Sieg, Allgaier, Briscoe, Jones, Chastain, Cindric, and Gregson are all in play for me. The only guy that's a hard fade for me right now is Daniel Hemrick. Maybe Chastain, maybe Jones. Justin Haley, I mean, he's been running well this weekend. Ryan Sieg is interesting because we saw him run an old RCR car at Las Vegas. If he runs that car again, you need him in your lineup. I would imagine they're going to use that car again here. I think he finished fourth in that car. I could bring it up, but I'm not going to. I think he finished fourth in that car at Las Vegas, or at least ran the top four the entire race. If he's run that car, which I think he does run that car again, he's going to run better than where he's been averaging this year. And if people aren't aware of that, you can take advantage of that and play him. I like Sieg a lot. Allgaier and Briscoe, pick your poison, pick whoever you think is going to do better. And then between Gragson and Cindric, who do you think leads the most laps? I imagine it's going to be Cindric. So I would imagine the highest owned projected dominator would be Austin Cindric, and then Chase Briscoe, and then Allgaier, and then maybe Noah Gragson. I don't really want to rely on Noah Gragson here. I'd much rather go with Austin Cindric since we're at a mile and a half, since we're at a track that we know how people are going to run here. That's why I deal with Austin Cindric. And that's about it. That's my overlook on these people. If you guys want anything else, leave it in the comment section. I'll try and answer. Tweet at me on Twitter if you want to know anything. And thank you guys for watching. Yet again, I got a Patreon in the description if you guys would like to support me. And we will talk next time. Peace out. Home skillets.